You saw Senator Sabina. That was like a real time reaction. She was like, "Oh, look at the what? Oh." So it's going to be fun, and we're going to be right here with you along for the ride. 8:45. We'll go back into the Zoom room now, where we have Shawn Gumataotao and Will Parkinson standing by. There you go. And we're going to kind of turn it over to you guys and go into this whole Cookiegate thing, which is snowballed. It went from something as simple as Congressman St. Nicholas kind of going to check on Marjorie Taylor Greene. We all know the whole story. She made the comments. She doesn't think Guam is part of the U.S. She thinks we're a foreign country. We don't deserve Uncle Sam's money, yada, yada, yada. And so basically Congressman St. Nicholas had gone on CNN, said he was taking his guardsmen on a tour of the nation's capital. They decided to make a quick stop over to Congresswoman Greene's office. We all saw the video with the dramatic music. You had a tweet that cracked the hell out of me last night. That was funny. You tweeted that you were going to eat some cookies.
No, I said I just bought some cookies.
You just bought some cookies and you need dramatic music or?
No.
Something like that. She doesn't want me to say that because she doesn't want you guys to know she has a sense of humor. But it was funny because the dramatic music with that video. It was just a little over the top, guys.
I said, bought some cookies. I think I'll have it with some dramatic music.
Yeah, most people have their cookies with milk, but, Congressman St. Nicholas and Sabrina, they have their cookies with dramatic music. It's 8:46. So, Shawn, Will, these guys are kind of on different sides of this, and I think it's interesting because Will Parkinson is normally one of these, he's a progressive Democrat, so he's not necessarily ever really in Congressman St. Nicholas's corners, but this is really, it's so hyper-partisan. Right, because you have like a super right Trumpy QAnon Congress lady who said some things, and so you've got that side of the Republican Party just really energized by this. And I mean, you got the minority leaders calling for things, and then you've also got the Democrats because this boneheaded statement from Green came from that far right side. It's also energized the left. And so we don't really, a lot of times on Guam, we don't really go with this like right, left, far right, liberal. You don't really hear a lot of that conversation here because of our party situation and the pandering that really has to go on both sides. So I think that's interesting. We'll start with Shawn now. Shawn, I was looking at your Twitter, and you're basically saying that this was a political stunt, bad move on Congressman St. Nicholas's part. And, of course, Will, you totally disagree. So we'll go ahead and start with Shawn. Go ahead, Shawn.
Hey, guys, good morning, first off. And,
right.
One of the things that I think we forget is over a week ago, when that video surfaced from CPAC, I mean, it didn't take me long. When I saw it, I was pretty offended by it in general. And I forwarded it off to some of my friends in the DC area. And just are you guys aware that it happened at CPAC? But when we look at the actual reaction since then, my concern was that obviously, when Congressman St. Nicholas was telling, of all people, okay, he won't go on KUAM, but he'll go on CNN, telling Breonna Keller, that I was giving our guardsmen a tour. Now, just for the record, since January 6th, Congress has been closed to tours. So it's quite offensive that the congressman would say, oh, I'm just giving them a tour, and we were giving out Kellogg's and cookies. It was absolutely crazy, considering he only went to one other person. Oh, but we did go to the speaker's office. I just went on his page just a couple of minutes ago. There's not a single image. There's no video with dramatic music of any other of the 435 members of Congress that he said, I've been doing this for 3 years. That is just absolutely insane. Again, Congressman St. Nicholas taking advantage of this situation for his own good. This is just, I'm fairly peeved about it, because then you're seeing it blow up on Twitter. Folks are really concerned. Now, the tag was like, well, there may not be discipline. Well, because all our National Guard members were deployed at the order of the President of the United States. So whether or not the National Guard Bureau decides to take any action, that remains to be seen on their end for sure.
Well. Will Parkinson.
Wow.
Yeah, Shawn coming hard there. What you got to say about that?
There. First off, let me express my great amount of disappointment in our local Republican Party for not condemning Marjorie Taylor Greene and her aspersions towards our National Guard and our island. How dare she draw a circle around America and not include Guam after all the service and sacrifice our people have done? We are the tip of the spear. And she has the nerve and the temerity to draw a circle around America that does not include us. And the Republican Party in Guam is silent about that? Oh, where is your patriotism for your island? That is the real story here. Not what Michael St. Nicholas did, because you know what? It is not illegal for our guardsmen to go speak or visit a representative. There is nothing in the Uniform Commercial Code about visiting a congressman being an act of terrorism. You know, and the other thing here is I reject the premise that including Guam as American is a partisan issue. That is not a partisan issue. Guamanians are American, and I am offended by the notion that you would suggest that that is a Democrat-Republican thing. Guam being Americans is an American issue. And I commend Michael St. Nicholas for turning the other cheek, and rather than going there with some high-minded political stunt of going over the top with some feigned moral outrage, he went in there, turned the other cheek like a good Catholic, and offered her gifts and education and friendship. And she turned around and called our National Guard thugs that are intimidating congressmen and attacking journalists. How dare she?
Shawn?
You know, for me, when you look at the video that was put up by The Hill, which is getting a lot of criticism too, that was Congressman St. Nicholas's video. He had made sure that his guys were in the right place and recording, and they did it, edited it. You know, it's par for the course for the congressman. He's been known to be, at least in terms of over the top relative to his own videos. And it seems that when we think about work, I'm pretty sure a phone call and a bunch of other engagements with the congressman would have been, congresswoman would have been better. And again, it goes back to the idea that our National Guard members were there, again, with a mission that was set out by the commander-in-chief, and they were there to do their job. And yes, they're okay to be doing what they're doing on the Hill, but when it's closed for tours, I mean, there's just not enough Kelligwin and cookies that could possibly get to the rest of the members of Congress. And I just think it's just a lousy execution of the office of the Guam congressman to do this. It's just poor taste.
Do you agree with the assertions Marjorie Taylor Greene made in her press release?
Yeah, I saw the video too, and I was just as offended. I think I started this discussion with that, and that I had already reached out to all of the Republicans to say, hey, what's all this about? Again, CPAC, where it all happened, they have to deal with that, and I think they're going to have a kind of a big task ahead of them to get rid of this particular video and this whole this whole thing that's around her. But again, going back to the issue at hand, it was the delegate taking, and he kept referring to them as our or my National Guard members. Okay, again, when they were there at the direction of the President of the United States, they are American soldiers doing that. They were in their uniform. Now, yes, that the adjutant general, who I've known for 20 years, probably, she did say, I'm not sure if I'll take any disciplinary action. But when there's an ask of the Secretary of Defense and to the National Guard Bureau to look into it, we got to allow that to happen too. Just as we've been allowing investigations into the congressman to go forward, the party has already done their part to the representative from Georgia, and I've been reading a lot of different things online. What if it was a Republican who did that? I think it'd be way different too. So in terms of and it had nothing to do with us, but it has everything to do with the fact that it was just poor taste, poor execution of what he thought would be a good PR thing for himself.
Will, before you, because I see you got something to say there, but I wanted to ask, because I feel like this has really been bundled into, it's just been rolled into one issue, and I feel like people who are critical of the use of the Guard or any of the other aspects are being lumped into this like anti-Guam group. And I think that if we just kind of separate the issues, because you're right. I mean, I like the way you opened it, Shawn. You said, yeah, Marjorie Greene, she's a total idiot. I mean, she is. She's probably a flat earther. You know what I mean? So she's an idiot. What she said was totally stupid. Fine. But I feel like people can still be critical of whatever else happened after that, and that's where we are. So I love this exchange of ideas. But Will, it looked like you had something to say to Shawn's comments.
My only question right now, and maybe you could speak for the Republicans on this, will you join me in demanding an apology from the Republican Party for not including Guamanians who have given their blood to this country and not including us in their definition of American? Because it's not just Marjorie Taylor Greene. The minority leader, Kevin McCarthy, went out in support of Marjorie Taylor Greene after she said these things about our Guard. They are actively insulting our island and casting aspersions to our character. Will you demand an apology from them?
I think he's talking to you, Shawn.
Oh, you're asking me? Hey, I have nothing to do with the party right now, but I will tell you this.
I'm not a Republican.
I thought I was speaking to a Republican. You're just some guy now. Oh, my goodness.
I think you missed, again, going back, you missed what I said at the very beginning when I said that as soon as it happened, I recognized it was stupid too, and I reached out to all my friends in the party too. I'm still waiting for the answer. I'm with you. Listen, I'm with you, Will. I'm waiting for an answer from the
Republican Party.
I'm just looking over my shoulder thinking, okay, asking me. But I'm just as offended as you are, Will. There's no question about it. When the party,
you're just as offended, I would implore you to call all your friends. We just had Jim Moylan. He had no defense for our guardsmen after the slander against them. So please call your friends in the Republican Party.
Understood, but when we look at this, Will, and we look at, yes, we already said it was a dumb statement from the Georgia delegate, and there's nothing as dumb as the island tipping over from another Georgia representative. So my whole idea was, hey, at least
that was
the Georgia delegation. Can someone tell the Georgia delegation
us out where the definition of America?
That's all I did. Again, it goes back to what they were there and their mission for. And again, Congressman St. Nicholas, tours of Congressman's
gifts, and she spat in our face.
Oh, she didn't spit in anyone's face. She just went and wrote a letter.
Yes, she did. Did you read her press release where she said the military was being used to intimidate civilians and attack journalists? She said that about our Guard.
Yeah, but she was going backwards to the remark. If you recall, over the last week, there was also assaults by the U.S. Marine Corps on journalists as well. That's what part of the letter. That's what part of the letter was for. But when we look at
it is okay to criticize your party. If you do it, your hand will not be struck low by Donald Trump. It is okay to not be hyper partisan all the time. I'm not even a super big Mike Nicholas fan, but even I recognize that our Guard are not in the wrong for going over there to offer gifts after being called not Americans.
Hey, Will, let's share coffee this morning because, man, you're fired up today. I got to tell you,
yeah.
I'm excited. I think you're fired up.
He smoked the upweed.
I can defend our island and our National Guard all day.
Hey, but we got to say what it is. I mean, we saw what happened. If there's going to be no action by the National Guard,
Guam doesn't demand respect. We will
the
get
National Guard
respect.
Bureau to do their part, but let them do their part, and that's what the minority leader was saying. Hey, you guys can't politicize our military. Don't use them that way. And then, again, going back to, he hasn't been on this air to defend his Cookiegate comments either. So if he's listening, Congressman St. Nicholas should also come on this air and help explain it as well. Because the people of Guam...
I'm not going to blame the victim here. We were the ones offended. We do have nothing to answer for. Marjorie Taylor Greene and the Republican Party do.
She is so tangential to this whole entire thing. thing, and she's I mean,
guys,
when it comes down to it, is an issue of what
this-
we saw and the behavior of our delegate relative to pulling that kind of stunt on Capitol Hill. That drives me crazy.
So
Okay.
disappointed, John. So disappointed.
guys, let's kind of talk about the way forward, right? So obviously we've had the minority leader come out and he's saying, hey, this sucks. What do you think this means politically for Congressman St. Nicholas? Because I feel like this whole ethics thing, at least on the Hill, it kind of seemed like it's under the radar. But do you think that anything is going to come from all of this partisan debate about whether or not it was political stunt, or whether or not they marched on Green's office, or whether or not it was all just on the up and up?
only opinion that matters is the official ruling from the military. If the military says it's fair game, then we must abide by their judgments.
Maybe the Financial Services Committee isn't busy enough to where the congressman can just walk around and deliver cookies and win. This is all about, for him, he's not just busy enough. We got to get him back to work doing other issues that are important for Guam.
Have you not seen the massive
and that's
aid
the
package
thing
that the Biden administration just released? Are you kidding me?
Again,
He was part of the group
my
that
delegate
single-handedly
supply.
raised millions of children out of child
When you're not
poverty.
on the
We are
committee to
really bearing the
divide up
lead on the
territories,
child poverty,
it is definitely
on the
not
child
yet.
credit here. That is bigger than in the entire package. That is the biggest story in the whole country. The 3,600 child care credit, and nobody has really catched on to that yet. That will single-handedly raise so many children out of poverty, and that is a program that I could see becoming permanent after a year's time.
Yeah, Will, I appreciate that. But when you take $2 billion of a $1 trillion package to split amongst the territories, that is peanuts compared to what Mike St. Nicholas could have been doing on the Financial Services Committee to get more money for Guam. It is not enough. Khalili Sablan and the CNMI did a way better job of giving money to all the territories, including the delegate from the U.S. Virgin Islands. They did more to push the initiatives of the territories than Mike St. Nicholas. He was not doing that. Just look at the record. Go look at what the Financial Services Committee has been doing for the last 2 months. And it wasn't what Delegate Khalili and Plaskett were doing over the last 30 days relative to supporting all the U.S. territories.
I don't know, like, I was raised Catholic, and I was told not to look at the other person's plate to see if we got too little. What's really important is that the people of Saipan got enough. And, maybe the congressman could have done better, but I'm not one to look a gift horse in the mouth. Even if I disagree with Mike on a lot of things, he's a lot more conservative and a lot of his politics for me. But I will say thank you for the service Mike has done and what he's given to the people of Guam. I'm not so little in my politics that I can't say thank you.
No, and understood. But the best way for all of us to kind of recover from this whole entire pandemic is to reopen the island, to get people back to work. The federal stimulus is going to only last for only so long. We got to get our 2 major industries back online, and our community has demand of our leaders to, again, be realistic and reassuring with all of the things that are happening. And right now, Capitol Hill and a bunch of cookies is not realistic and reassuring. It's what's happening locally to get done to ensure that all of us, as you say, I care about the poor in Guam. Everyone else really is a fourth.
Here.
That aid package is giving money away to foreign entities. Never mind that. It should be stuck in America, and to Guam is the most important part of it.
I think it's really interesting, and I think, Will, this is what's happening to you, is that we're not separating all of these issues, and this has become if you're critical of the congressman, then you hate Guam on this. But I think that he was sticking up for Guam in the way that he thought was prudent and proper or whatever. I mean, was it over the top? Yeah, but he is over the top. If you look at his Facebook, it's
the
just
commercial was kind of tacky.
It's so extra, right? Right.
His heart was in the right
but
place.
Yeah, I agree. His heart was in the right place.
This would be a non-story if Marjorie Taylor Greene just came up and said, "Oh, you know what? I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
I didn't know Guam was part of the
course,
U.S.
Of course.
Thank you for the cookies." And
but we
thank
all
you for
knew
your
that
service.
wasn't going to happen.
We would have all clapped our hands and we all would have walked away. No hurt feelings. That's all we wanted. We just wanted my bad. Thanks for the cookies. Thank you for your service.
Right on.
But no, they turned around and called us thugs after that.
Yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that our congressman is absent half the time. that he's got the second worst voting record. That's what I'm saying, is that all these issues, they need to be like unpacked and maybe addressed separately, because it's kind of, and you know, it is brilliant on the part of the congressman, because he's galvanized this like pro Guam.
Yeah, like I don't care about the petty jabs that Shawn wants to take at the congressman. What I care about is the insult done to our island and a lack of apology from the National Party after excluding us from their definition of American.
I don't know about petty jab. All I saw was inaction by our delegate. And thank you, Khalili Sablan. I know he listens to this news,
Right.
and I know that also the USVI delegates also monitoring KWM. So kudos to those two delegates for looking out for all of the U.S. territories. Okay, and
Yeah.
and I'll give a little bit of credit to Mike Nicholas. Yeah, he wanted to make sure all the banks in America and all of the other financial services were taken care of. But when it comes down to the people of Guam, $2 billion across all the territories is surely not enough.
Yeah, and I mean, I get what you're saying, Shawn, totally, and I really agree with both of you on this. I agree with Will where you're coming from, that this was kind of like just defending Guam. You know, that's what the gist of what they were trying to do was. But Shawn, I also agree with you that there's a lot of credit being taken for things that have been done by other people. There's a lot of credit being taken for things that are kind of like default, like as a territory default. Of course, we're going to get hundreds of millions of dollars because, you know, whether or not our political status denotes it, we are part of the American empire. So, I mean, it's a done deal. Yeah, we're going to get money. But how much did Congressman Nicholas have to do with it? I guess if you look at the record, that'll determine the answer. But thanks, guys.
That's right.
It's been fun.
All right, guys. Hey, have a great day. Will, have a great day there. Sabrina, Chris, Jason, and probably Mike.
Republican Party of Guam, demand an apology. Demand better. Guamanians are Americans.
Find
Settle
Will for
for
coffee
nothing less.
and help him with the apologies.
Okay, guys. That was fun, right? Different styles, though, right? And you know, Will is always he's always got some interesting stuff to say. I mean, he's been coming on ever since before the pandemic with the after party. I think he's got a cool viewpoint, and I also think it's interesting that he's now in this position where he's going to bat for Congressman Nicholas, because I know with like he said, Congressman Nicholas little on the conservative side for a Democrat, and that's also been kind of a point of contention for Will. So, and like I said, I think this intersects with a lot of bigger